Joining us on the show today, Mahua Acharya. She's a climate change and energy sustainability professional. Tremendous experience, tremendous knowledge in this space. Mahua, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Aabha, for doing this. And thank
So
you for
we
having
were
me.
all discussing when we were invited you on the show how we're going to get into the depths of all that you do, because it sounds so complicated to some of us. But you know, if we go back to how it began, your own experience, you studied at Yale, you've lived in, I think, 25 countries?
Five.
Lived in 5 countries, and 25 countries, worked in 25
Yeah.
countries, or traveled to them and things for work. That's a lot of experience over the years that you've accumulated. What was your role like when you set out to really bridge the gap when it comes to energy, climate and sustainability here in India?
Great, thank you. Firstly, thank you once again for having me, and I'm so glad you're doing these shows. Maybe I'll start a little bit with my own background and some of the struggles I've faced in the early days trying to define what I might have wanted to do.
Okay.
I did my master's degree at Yale in the US, and I did a degree in environment and management. The query was that I want to be able to bring in market solutions or market-based solutions to our environmental problems. And the topic was being defined at that time. I chose to work on carbon markets at that time because here's a way that I can trade this thing, I can get companies involved in it, I can get market forces, and I can get the principles of economics come to life. So my query has been that right through. And then I want to design solutions that countries need in order to just move on to more sustainable pathways. Pathways for energy, I've focused on energy. I'm not a forester, but I'm learning how to read trees.
You're learning how to read trees?
I wish.
Is that a thing? Is that a thing?
You know, the tree people tell you it's a thing.
Wow.
But I'm learning other fields. I focused on energy, I focused on climate change over the years. Why so many countries? I had an international role. And most recently where I did this so many countries, or working in so many countries, I was going out there to work with these countries to try and put together their public and private, bring public and private together to create these solutions that in my mind were environmental problems, but we need finance to finance the solution, finance the mitigation of climate change. You need real profit-making commercial money, and for that you need mainstream finance. So that's what took me to, well, my global role took me to these countries.
Okay.
But my query has been trying to bring these two together.
Okay. Wow. And you were heading the government organization for a long time, CESL. What was the experience like in terms of working on behalf of the government or working with other government agencies and trying to bring this all together?
Fantastic. The government is just such, I joined the government because I felt like after some years I was looking for scale and I was looking for impact at scale. It's very difficult to achieve scale when you're outside the government, not until you're a massive enterprise do you get that, but it takes a while to get there. So the reason I joined the government is because I wanted to give back somehow to the country where I felt there's so much of headroom in India for us. We have no dearth of intellectual capacity here. We have no dearth of other sort of capacities. We just need some dedicated effort to put it together. So I had a great time. It was a very satisfying time. It's also the hardest I've worked in my life.
Say, yes.
It's just, I
remember I've spoken to you before, and I'm going to ask you now as well. You know, describe some of the travails of trying to accomplish things during that time.
I chose to work on electric mobility because I chose to focus. And I feel that the way to scale is through focus. And then one of the programs I worked on took off. I mean, they all did some levels of success, but I think one of them, electric buses, became a bit of a success. So it just became bigger than I expected it to become, and so the workload on me became way more than I had ever imagined. And you want to do all this stuff, right? Because it's a good problem in the sense that I would tell my colleagues in the office, if I stay here one hour longer, I'll have some more bus orders down and I should just get out of here. Like, so it was very satisfying.
Okay. So
Challenging.
tell us what you did there, because many people may not know when you chose mobility, how you went about getting those buses on the road, and the fact that we see some of those electric buses today, and it's your work. So tell us what the vision was, how you kind of battled whatever hurdles might have come your way in order to get it done.
I have to find a way to make electric buses affordable. That was my starting point. Affordable because our state transit companies, now I chose to focus only on our state transit company. We're sitting in Delhi, the equivalent of that is your Delhi Transport Corporation, for example. I chose to work on those because I was in the government, so let me work through the government with other government. They're not in the best of financial health. They have been underfunded for such a long time. Second, affordability is public mobility is a subsidized business all over the world. The masses have to be able to take public transportation. So my challenge was, or at least my query was, how do I make this affordable? So I work backwards, and I think of a way where we change, not to get too geeky, but we change the way these buses are run. Traditionally, we own buses, we own the drivers, we own the tires, we own everything. And then we run them for some years. This time you're not owning anything, you're buying a service. Okay. So that took a little bit of mindset change over time. I think the hardest in the beginning was going to states. Since we're sitting in India, transport is a state matter. So going to states and saying, look, can I now combine your specs into a centralized format, and can I then homogenize bus services across the country? Initially, states said to me, my city is different, my speed breaker is higher, my people want different things, and so no, we cannot do it. But as I look around, all our cities are congested. No one city is worse off or better off than any other. All have narrow roads, or their share of narrow roads, and making public transport affordable is the thing. Sure. So then I said, hey, this is completely doable, and we persevered for many months. It was challenging, but also very gratifying, because at the end of the day, look what we produced. It became cheaper.
That's fantastic.
Putting an electric bus is now cheaper than running a diesel bus.
No,
so
it's brilliant, yeah.
That's why you see buses on the roads in Delhi and other cities.
And I mean, it's amazing to hear your story, because not many people know. It's great to know, because not enough people know of the people like yourself who really made this happen. And also when you shifted to the public sector, I know you said you wanted to make an impact.
Yeah.
But that also must have been, quite a shift, because you're looking at initially, projects which require financial funding, that perhaps look to be profitable, to moving to the public sector, which is subsidized or in need of funds. And like you said, you have to work with so many different agencies in order to even get something going. So did you ever wonder, where have I landed up?
Many times.
Yeah.
Many times. But you keep going because of the promise of being able, or hoping to be able to do something serious and big. So you keep going with that. And you make 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, but you keep moving. One of the hardest challenges was to design a business model where private participation, these buses that you see on Delhi roads are privately owned. They are run by drivers that belong to the private company. The government's job is to make sure the government pays them on time, tells them where to go, which routes to follow. So we had to create a private-public kind of structure that reached an equilibrium where both sides were happy. That takes time, because it's a process I benefited from many people getting involved in the process. We had many groups, we had committees, we had several ministries, because public mobility doesn't really sit in any one ministry. So it was a very large collective exercise, if I could say that.
And you were going from state to state.
And I was going from state to state and city to city.
So a lot of people, of course, talk about how difficult it is for women in this position and going across to ministries and things like that. Did you have any such experience?
You know, Aabha, I try not to look at the world through that lens.
Yeah.
Because it can look very dark.
Okay.
And I call out where I can from time to time. Wherever I can encourage more women to participate, where more women to show up, where more women to speak up. Even something as simple as take the chair that is at the table, not the chair that's in the seat, the row at the back. Small things. Be there and don't be scared. So I remind myself every now and then that there's a whole chapter of women who are younger than me, who should come up. And they look for, and I've learned over the years that they look for others to create little opportunities. So I don't look at the world that way, but I'm very aware that the balance of gender is not good. We have work to do.
And in areas like this, it must be even more skewed.
We have work to do. Yeah, we have a lot of work to do. But you just have to keep going because, you know, we have no dearth of capacity.
How many years did it take you to complete this project? And if I were to describe it in terms of scale in some way, how would you do it so that people get an idea?
It took me about 10 months, little less than a year, to bring all the states together.
That's actually pretty quick. Isn't it quick? 10 months?
I mean, I would have liked it to be sooner.
I'm just imagining intergovernment agencies, it would could take years probably, you know.
I mean, I would have liked it to be faster.
All right, 10 months of convincing people.
It took 10 months of process. Convincing people, convening. We held 40 meetings, in fact 43 meetings.
Oh, wow.
In that 10-month process. We had a small committee where we got states in that committee. We used it as our decision-making body. But that's not all, because the reps in that committee would still have to work with their respective finance departments in the states and the political leadership. So we've got layers. And there's a very large project, very large numbers. The first tender was 5,500 buses. To put that in perspective, that's about $1 billion. To put it further in perspective, all of Europe at that time had 7,000 electric buses on the road. Our first tender had 5,500. So in one shot, we almost reached the European numbers in one shot, in 1 year.
Oh my gosh.
That's why I come back very satisfied. You can do, but it needs a lot of energy. And I relied on a lot of people. I had some very senior officers who helped me. I mean, I'm so grateful because I don't know the government. I don't come from the government. So I would go to them for help, you know. I need to push this up. I need to convene something. Please help me. So we have a lot of very good positive energy around us. We just don't have enough of them. Just not enough. So to your question, it took me about a little less than a year to put it all together. Then it takes a few months for states to agree to the contract and finish all the legal work.
Okay.
And then a few more months after that for the first lot of buses to come on stream. Today as I sit here, Delhi will be, I think, about 25% electric in a few days from now.
Oh my goodness, that's fantastic.
So in a 3-year span, yeah, we've got Delhi's will be about 25% in a few days from now.
That's brilliant.
And as I sit here, Bangalore is 35% electric as I sit here.
Yeah, yeah.
And like that, we did this thing, this electric bus project across Hyderabad, Kerala.
Mama, that's just, I mean, I'm blown away.
I can
Seriously.
name the states.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun, but tiring.
I'm sure. Tiring in terms of the speed, in terms of convincing them, in terms of just the sheer scale of the venture?
Um, I think the level of effort for a small venture is probably the same as that for a
Okay.
big venture.
Okay.
Tiring because unprecedented, done for the first time, therefore risky, needs convincing at so
many
many levels.
So what finally got them to click? It made economic sense, clearly.
Because the tender yielded prices that were cheaper than diesel, significantly cheaper than diesel. Now here we are in a country where we want to reduce our fuel import bills. And look, we're in Delhi today, the skies are blue, but they're not always blue.
Yeah.
So, each one of us as a citizen, we just want a cleaner environment. We want a cleaner, better life. So, you've got that tailwind. But the one thing that made it click is it got cheaper. So much cheaper that before the contracts from the first tender were closed, we launched the second tender.
Oh my gosh. And this one was even bigger.
That was
if I
even
remember.
bigger.
Yes.
Yeah, that was even bigger. I had to, tell people enough now because we don't have production.
Goodness.
So
yeah.
that seemed to be a reasonable size. So it's possible to do things here.
So how long were you at CES?
Little short of 3 years.
A little short of 3 years. So this was your big project, and then after that, did you just need a break?
I needed a break. I just needed to sleep for some time. I needed a break. I needed to sleep for some time. But I also felt like I think I've done as much as I could.
It'll now be carried forward.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. I just feel like the momentum is in the pricing. It has become cheaper. It has been demonstrated through this project that had so many people involved in it. This was not a Mahua Acharya thing. I pulled a lot of people into the whole initiative. And when prices are cheaper, economics rules a lot of things.
Are you looking to continue to do work in the energy space? I know you are, in the sense, but in what form, I don't know, because you always have a few things up your sleeve. But how are you looking to continue to further the agenda?
As I speak now, I spent some months just trying to think about what I would really like to do. Maybe at a slightly different pace. I don't have to put myself through that speed. I'd like to continue the journey, what I think is of being a market maker. I'd like to build a market maker. I say that because, we are in a developing country, Aabha. We don't have the business models for everything. I'm not a believer of copying from somewhere else. Not to sound prestigious, but it's not always suitable for us. We have so many segments in our economic strata. We have affordability at all different levels. So these solutions have to be designed for us, and they can be.
Right.
Now, markets for environment have not been created. We're creating a carbon market today as we speak. I've spent almost 20 years working in that. That's how I started. I started my career in the carbon market.
Yeah.
I've seen it from formation. So I'd like to continue the journey of trying to conceptualize solutions around the energy transition, if I can call it that. Our energy system is transitioning to cleaner pathways. We are decarbonizing. The challenge is, how do we put money in there? What are the business models? Do we have them at scale, such as electric buses?
Okay.
I come out with the confidence that we can do things at scale and at speed. So if we can replicate this across the industry around green mobility, energy storage, energy transition, I'd love to be able to work on agriculture and trees, which is why I'm spending a little time trying to learn that space. Carbon credits. So I'm cooking that up, and
It's such a wide...
wish me luck.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you're someone who's already carved, your own path. I was thinking that while you were speaking, I said, it's not like anybody told you go out and do this. There was no mandate. You went out and kind of created one. And I think we got to take the credit for this, because it's phenomenal. As you said, it was unprecedented.
Unprecedented. It's what gives me the most juice. It's also, at a more serious level, what I think is needed. because we don't have the precedence for a lot of things. If we had it, it would be cookie cutter.
Right.
And we would have been in a different place today if we had it. We have such complex India type problems that we have to make India type solutions. And they have to be at scale, otherwise you're wasting time, you know, it's just too big. So part of the reason I enjoy anyway creating.
Yeah.
I feel scale is an imperative, and I learned to appreciate scale through the government. And I think you have to chart your own path in a lot of sectors, in a lot of areas in your life.
That's true. So where is India when it comes to this path? Because, you know, we know of the COP 28 mission, we know about the fact that we've got funds from all over the world looking to kind of invest in India. You know, the whole consumer demand for EVs is increasing. So I'm glad to see that, you know, people are buying into it. But, you know, how do you think things will evolve over the next few years? Because we are a large country. We do have a significant carbon footprint. You know, do you feel we'll manage to really live up to the kind of promises that we've made?
We're doing okay.
Okay.
I mean, in a nutshell, I think we're doing okay.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean we can't do better. We all know we can do better. Many of us know where we can do better. Yes, we have a significant carbon footprint, but we're also a very big country.
Yeah.
The actual footprint per person is very low because we're a poor country at the end of the day.
Okay.
So we're also a messy economy.
Yeah.
We're a messy democracy as well.
Yes.
So things take time. We need to move faster. It's not that it's so easy to say that. So where are we? We're okay. We're on course. We have identified our hurdles. We know that our hurdles are closer to us than we thought. So some of us are moving faster, and some sectors we're moving faster, and other sectors maybe we have a little bit of time. But today I've never had a problem explaining some of our environmental thinking, some of my mad ideas to people. To be green is normal discourse here. That we're having this conversation at an India level is normal conversation. So we're okay.
No, it's good to hear that. And which are the areas that are moving faster than others? I'm curious.
I mean, I can certainly say I think electric mobility is moving fast. Electric vehicles is moving fast. People want them.
You think that's because people are genuinely conscious about the cause?
They're curious.
They are curious.
Yeah, I think conscious would be maybe a bit of a stretch. People are conscious, but you have to spend money.
Right.
So they're curious for sure, and that's picking up.
Okay.
Wherever consumers get involved, things move fast.
Exactly.
And I rely, or at least I hope, that many more of us, that our system and our democracy will pick up and push a little bit more. So I think electric vehicles is moving pretty fast. For so long, we had renewable energy moving very fast. We still do, but we've hit some roadblocks.
Yes.
I mean, it's, you know, I say that
It's coming back now, I think.
it's coming back. I feel that the success of our renewable energy program has itself been our own limitation.
Okay.
We did
In
so
what
well.
sense? Yeah.
We did so well. We put so many green electrons into the grid. But green power, the sun goes down at about 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. Then what do I do?
Right.
Do I switch back to my coal plants? No. So in many of our states,
Yeah.
there is genuine technical reluctance to take on more solar power and wind power because it comes on at a certain time, goes off at a certain time, and then the
Right.
grid becomes unstable. So in a way, we've created our own situation. We're coming out of it
It probably needed some thinking through in terms of some solutions that could.
at scale.
Right.
At scale, it needed some thinking through. We did very well. Our renewable energy program did very well. We're one of the world's best, if not the leader. And for a very long time, we had big industry move in, big banks move in,
Exactly.
and we found that prices were getting cheaper and cheaper, so much that solar power is cheaper than coal. So the success of our renewable energy program is a limitation to itself, because the sun comes down at about 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, it sets. So I have solar power that starts in the morning about 6 o'clock, and by the evening when the sun goes down, what do? Do I switch back on to my coal power? No, I shouldn't do that. So we need to put in storage.
Okay. Okay.
So that our grid is not unstable. And many of our grids across the country today are a little unstable because they have taken on so much of green power, largely solar
Okay.
and wind. But what we need now is a different type. We want renewable power 24 hours a day.
Fascinating. Are you still traveling as much, or will you be when you begin your new venture?
I still travel, yes. I have board engagements that I did not do as much justice in the years that I was in the government. I didn't have time.
Sure.
And I'm very passionate about those engagements, so I'd like to give a little bit more time to them. So that keeps me busy, it keeps me with my international community, I bridge the two. So yeah, I travel a little bit. People invite me for speaking at universities. I take it because I feel the next generation of our leaders, wherever I can give back, and if they want a lecture, I do it. So I travel around a little bit. Yeah, not as much.
And you spoke about charting your own path. So leave us with, a word of advice for, young entrepreneurs or young professionals who are looking to carve their own path or make a mark in their field.
Stay the course. I would tell them, stay the course and hang in there. Stay the course, focus. I wouldn't say don't give up. At some point you have to give up. It's not working, you have to call it quits. But stay the course, and if I feel that if you focus, you can. Nothing is easy, everything takes time. I tell young entrepreneurs, there's space for, I'm not an entrepreneur, but I've been entrepreneurial in systems.
Exactly. Yeah.
There is space. There's headroom, I call it headroom. There's space to absorb new ideas. We want them because we also need them. And we're a very rapidly emerging country. There seems to be a market for a lot of things, for anything.
It's true.
So chart your course, stay the course, figure out what you want to do, and after that it's not that much of a mental drain because you do what you like to do.
Lovely. Mahua, thank you so much for joining us. It's an absolute delight.
Thank you.
I'm so pleased that we could get you to spend some time with us here today.
Thank you, and thank you once again for having me and for this thing that you're doing. So congratulations to you too.
Thank you. Thank you.